Dead Chronicles, baby. Dead Chronicles. Like I said, this week I'm gonna dedicate my videos to all the dads. So I'm gonna tell you a story about my dad. And my dad was so active. There was some point in his life that he had to make shit happen. So he was working his ass off, man. He was working. But why my father hated is he came home. Okay, we used to live with my grandparents, right? Because he was working his ass off, right? And then we have a couple of uncles, 35 years old and, still living at home. They were still sleeping. And my father, like, every time my dad was in town, these dudes went out of the house. Because these guys were a bunch of fucking lazy ass people, not job, not occupation. So my dad always knew that the only way to succeed in this world is through hard fucking work, man. So he was always moving. He was always on the move, man. He was, if he was not working, he was traveling. So he was able, and I'm going to tell you another story later on. Dude, my dad was always pounding us the ability to go out there and find new places. Like yesterday, we got up in the morning and we just, where are we going? I don't know. We're just going to go explore, right? And I always have that explorer mentality, always on the move, because at the moment you stay still, what happens when you have, it rains and the water stays still? It stinks, right? So my dad always was looking for it, and he did at work. As a tourist guide, my dad always was on different streets. He always find a new routes to whatever he was taking, when he was working. So people love him for that. Because he said, I'm gonna show you guys the real, I'm not the touristic Mexican, I'm gonna show you. And he was taking you to the streets. Sometimes he was like a little like a lefty guy, so we was talking about, the politics, but he really wanted to explain. He said, look, this is the real Mexico, right? Here's this is what was happening on the streets, eh? And, the real food, where people used to go. Because people, when you go to certain places, they don't see, where people shop. They show you like the hotels and the fancy areas. My dad took different routes, and people love him for that. And they love him so much that literally they used to send him pretty much the tips that he earned plus whatever he make. People give him tips left and right. My dad was probably making about $10,000 a month on tips, and I'm talking about 30 years ago. This is how like my dad was, man. He was a superstar.